Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm the founder of Same Love Toti. We're a non-profit organization that looks after LGBT people and their families. We create safe spaces. We educate people on their rights, on the law. We provide support, and most of all, we want to provide like a sense of belonging, a place to be that's safe and supportive. So today we are on our new project. Our new project is called Dala Ikusasa.
Dala Ikusasa.
Say it again.
Dala Ikusasa.
Okay, what she said. Okay, so that means build a future. So we're making a series of videos, and once you've seen all of our videos here, you're going to be able to be more confident. You're going to be able to be independent. You will be equipped. We're going to give you skills. We're going to give you affirmation of who you are. And we're going to give you the tools to really have a far more rewarding and successful life. And here is my panel with me, but they are also friends and colleagues. So we have Jay here, who's also part of Same Love Toti. Iris as well. Keegan, he's our youngest member at the moment. And Tinashe.
Yes.
Okay. And Orianda. And Orianda is actually joining us from a local safe house in KwaZulu-Natal. It's called The Turning Point. And Orianda is a social worker that actually works with women who are abused and with their children. And obviously lesbians that end up in the safe house. Orianda also supports and helps them with the different things that the different types of support that they're going to need. Okay, so welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining us on this day.
Thank you for having us.
Today we want to learn about sexual orientation and lesbians and gender identity and all of those words we hear thrown around, because so often people get the wrong idea. So today we're going to look at exactly what those things mean. The first thing we're going to look at is SOGIESC. Now, SOGIESC is SOGIESC, which means sexual orientation. SO means sexual orientation. What is it, T?
So sexual orientation is who a person is through choosing who the person loves.
So it's just about dating. It's only about dating.
It's about dating. It's about consensual love between two people in agreement without any, let's just say it's about two consensual people dating, and love.
Adults.
Relationship, yes.
Would you regard that as just who you attracted to, the gender that you are sexually attracted to, that then informs who you decide to be in a relationship with?
I don't think you decide or you choose who you are. When it comes to love, love is love. You can always fall in love with who you fall in love with, due to the fact that, like I mentioned earlier on, to say love is love, and you can never choose, no matter what sexual orientation you are, you can never get to, to choose when or how to fall in love or who to fall in love with. It just happens.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So that's the SO. The SO is dating. Sexual orientation is dating. Okay. And gender identity. Would you like to tell us about gender identity?
Yeah, so gender identity has got nothing to do with sexual orientation. It's the way that you feel inside, what gender you align yourself to. So even though you might be born physically a male, you might identify as a woman inside.
Right. Okay, so then gender identity is only about who you are, your essence.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. And then gender expression.
Gender expression is actually about expressing yourself. I think a couple of months ago, there was a picture of a guy in stilettos who likes wearing skirts that was trending.
Okay.
And that was someone's husband who had a wife and kids, a very straight guy. But he liked to express himself wearing skirts and heels. So that's
Okay.
it's got nothing to do about your body. It's just how you express, how you walk, how you talk, the clothes you wear. So that's just, that's,
Okay.
to sum it up, that's gender
Yeah.
expression.
And not only in like in that kind of way, also like girls that are maybe instead of they don't want to wear dresses, maybe they want to, wear shorts or jeans or something.
Chinos like I do.
So does that mean then I can be all feminine,
Yes.
look feminine, but then inside, like she has said, that you can feel like you identify more towards like being a man, if I may put it that way?
No, not really. And that's a common thing that people have, that they get mixed up. They think that all of the sexual orientation and the gender identity and the gender expression, they think it's all sort of the same thing. And it's not. So what happens then is with gender expression, so you could be somebody who is straight, okay, and like she said, still want to wear a skirt. So it doesn't affect who you date. It also doesn't affect your gender identity. So it's not like that guy wanted to be a woman, or he didn't identify as a woman. He just liked to wear skirts. And it's the same with girls. Just because they wear jeans or shorts, it doesn't mean that they want to be a boy or they want to date girls. Sometimes girls just want to
feel comfortable.
So so that's what with gender expression, it's more a case of only your clothes and your mannerisms.
I liked what you said to me once, Kim. You said to me that gender, sexual orientation is who do you go to bed with. Gender identity is who do you go to bed as.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Gender identity is about who you are, and sexual orientation is just about dating. Yeah, and that's where we're trying to get to, where we can actually make those distinctions and not try to put people in boxes or make assumptions about people. Yeah. Okay, and the last one, SC, is sex characteristics. And sex characteristics also something that everybody has, because obviously we're all born with bodies, so we're all born with sex characteristics. And sometimes those are stereotypical and sometimes those are not stereotypical. Intersex people are born with physical, hormonal, or genetic features that are neither wholly female nor wholly male, or a combination of female and male, or they are neither female or male. Many forms of intersex exist. Intersex is a spectrum or umbrella term rather than a single category. Sexual orientation occurs on a broad spectrum. Human bodies are diverse and are a combination of various features. Sexual and gender diversity occurs across the whole world. It is normal, which means it's not an abnormality. It is natural, which means that diversity occurs without outside intervention. And it is neutral, which means that it is neither good nor bad to be different. It's just a matter of fact. Diversity exists. Okay, so now with sexual orientation, seeing as you can date, who you want to date, whether it's male or female, does that mean you would be able to choose your sexual orientation? Can you choose to be gay or choose to be straight or choose to be lesbian?
Well,
Absolutely not.
no. Nobody
not
can
possible.
choose
Yeah.
their sexual orientation. You can choose who you will fall in love with.
Yeah.
Love is love,
Yeah.
no matter what sexual orientation you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not really a choice then.
It's
It's
not a
just
choice
who
then.
you
It's not
are.
even a
It's who you,
phase.
it's not a passive
It's
Like
not a
phase.
phase.
Like most people say, like our parents will say that, oh, she's going through a phase, you know.
Yeah,
Sure,
it's
it'll blow
actually
over.
who you are.
It's not. It's who you are,
Yeah.
unfortunately for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And the nice thing is that, you know, it's still normal. You know.
Yeah.
You might be different, but it just it doesn't mean there's anything
Wrong with you.
wrong with you. You know. So you just fall into the smaller percentage. You're not like one of the majority. You're a
Yeah.
minority.
Minority when
Yeah.
it comes to sexual
Yeah.
orientation.
Yeah.
True.
And gender identity as well is something that is also very much a personal journey, because we can't put people in boxes. With gender identity, you know, each person has a very different story to tell, you know. For example, Iris, you're older than Keegan. Do you have anything that you can say on gender identity?
I think that some people know very early on in their lives whether they want to transition and become the opposite gender. Personally, for me, I was fine until I got to about 50. And instead of it, and my dysphoria was actually more something that was just in the background and constantly nagging, but I was able to live a successful life. But at this point in my life, it's got too strong and I've had to transition. But for other people that have done it straight away, each journey is separate, and each story that I've listened to and spoken to other people about, they have all taken this journey very, very differently.
Sure. And Keegan?
Yeah, I would say that just because people don't believe you or understand it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with what you're doing. You're the only person that can know how you feel on the inside. Nobody else can.
Yeah.
So if you think that you're a boy, you are.
Yeah.
No matter if everyone else thinks you're a girl.
Yeah. And I think that's an important point to remember, that kids know,
They do.
you know, they know themselves.
They do.
Absolutely.
And how did your parents take that?
They did not believe me
Okay.
when I first came out. I think they took it as a shock, which is understandable. Thankfully now they're very supportive and
It's good.
they're
Yeah.
a big part of my life. But it took about 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I knew quite young. I was 12 or 13.
Okay.
Some people know younger, some people know much later.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that any one is more valid than the other.
Right. Right. What about your relationships as transgender men and women? How have you navigated relationships with family, with community, with churches, schools? How's that worked for you guys?
It's really important to navigate those relationships. You know, especially in the transgender community, suicide rates are very high.
Yes.
Depression rates are very high.
Yeah.
And when you embark on a journey like this, you really have to try to safeguard yourself. And especially for me coming out at a much older age, I mean, I had family, children, wife, you know, all the business relationships. And I've had to work very, very hard at maintaining those relationships. You think that the challenge is the physical change, but it's not that's not the real challenge. The real challenge is having the courage to approach every single person that you know and speak it through with them, because they're entering into a journey with you, whether they like it or not. And it's your responsibility to actually be considerate to them if you want to preserve those relationships and actually transition well.
Well, I think I've been luckier than most. Unfortunately, not everyone is lucky that everyone in their life is supportive, and I haven't had any serious negative experiences.
That's great.
Like I said, my family took a long time to come around, but they did, and there's no one in my family that's disowned me or shunned me or anything. With friends, it wasn't too bad either. The main problems that I actually had was with some of my parents' friends. I had a lady who used to send me Bible verses every week and try to convert me.
Okay.
And that was, there's a few instances like that. But again, those were people that weren't very important to my life, so I could fairly easily cut them out without it affecting me.
That's great.
I agree with you, Keegan. It's some times have changed. Hey? It's like generally as well, I've also been very well received.
Yeah.
Whereas you embark on a journey like this and you think that everybody's going to reject you, and it's not the
I was very
case.
worried about that, but I was lucky. And at work as well, everyone has been very supportive. The only issues I've run into at work is because I work a trade job and I work on sites, it always comes up that my documents say I'm female even though I look male. And I have to basically out myself as transgender every single time I go to work. But thankfully, it's never put me in a difficult situation, but it could quite easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And moving on to then the SC, the sex characteristics. Jay, how many babies are born each year?
Oh. So in 2020, there was 98 cases that came in, doctors wanting to know, about the sex of the child. They would normally state it as, what you call this? Intersex or sex chromosome abnormalities. That always just ikes me out, that word, Jake. I think they need to change it, because when they say abnormalities, they're saying the child is abnormal. I think it's very normal. Anyway, so there was 98 cases that came in. In 2020, 2021, it rise up to 102, whereby now the child is born with both two genitals, and then they just need to, the doctor brings in their blood work to decide whether it's a girl or a boy, because now they need to operate on one, remove one. And most of the time, well, the results, they will rely on blood results, whether they say the blood results will say it's a girl or it's a boy, and then they'll go with that. But I think it does affect a child at a later stage. Yes, the blood can say it's a boy, but when the child grows up, she'll identify himself as a girl, and it's only that 1% of parents who will say to doctors, you know what, let's let the child grow until they're 18, and they will decide which organ they want to keep. It really puts the kids, I mean, it's an infant, they can't make their own decisions, only the parents can do that. But I wish there was more education to parents. They will be more informed to say, you know what, let the child grow, unless maybe it hinders on their health, to say if we do not remove one organ, it might cause problems, with the child's growing up. But I just wish parents will be more informed before making this big decision, because it's a big decision to make for a child.
It is, and I think the problem comes in is when the birth certificate is filled out, the doctors are forced to actually say this is a male, or this is a or this is a female, because there isn't a section that says this is an intersex child. So we have to change that at Home Affairs as well, to allow for there to be intersex babies. And we have to bring in legislation as well that's going to protect these babies from intersex genital mutilation, because at the end of the day, the best case scenario for intersex babies or gender diverse babies, the best case scenario is to leave them exactly as they are, because they are exactly as they are.
That's why I'm saying that.
They aren't purely male or purely female. They are intersex, and we need to respect that there is diversity in bodies, in gender, in everything. So yeah, we need to respect that and make space for these babies. Okay, so we're going to go on to then the thing that most of us know. Most of us are not familiar with the SOGIESC terminology as we've laid out now. But the thing we do know is the LGBTIQ plus terminology. So we just want to go quickly through that because, again, so many times people actually don't know what that is. So we're going to do LGB are lesbian, gay, and bisexual. Okay, and that will fall in the sexual orientation grouping. And then in the gender identity grouping, obviously we have cisgender and transgender and
Intersex.
no,
It doesn't
No.
fall there.
no, not in gender identity.
Okay.
Intersex is in sex characteristics.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So then it's gender expression, and in gender expression everybody's there. LGBTQIA plus, they're all there. Okay, because everybody has a gender expression. We all express ourselves differently. We all feel comfortable in different ways. And then sex characteristics is where you have your stereotypical male, female bodies, or your intersex or gender diverse bodies.
Oh.
Yeah. And then going on from that, the big question that I find often is the plus sign. What does the plus mean? And if you ask people, they'll give you different answers. So today, we want to say to you that plus just means that we know there's more genders out there. We know that there's gender diversity. We know that there's more sexual orientations. And while we are learning day by day, more discoveries are being made. So we want to put the plus in there to make sure that everybody is included. And those would be some of the names that do fall in that category will be pansexual. You guys can help me out. What were the other ones?
We've got
Pansexual,
pansexual, we've got
demisexual,
aromantal,
Yeah.
sapiosexual,
asexual.
Yes, asexual, androgynous,
so
yeah.
forth and so
There's a
forth.
lot.
I think
It's
maybe
like a
another way
genre.
of saying it is like that gay people are known as the Rainbow Nation, and there's more than 7 colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great
That sums it up.
one. That's a good one. Okay, so yeah, that covers the plus then, because the plus is also about adults. It's also about healthy diversity. It's also about recognizing that sexual and gender diversity exists, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we know that sexual and gender diversity exists, and that's why we have the plus, because like we said, over the past 150 years, we've discovered so much more, and obviously there's going to be more to discover. So every day, more people are coming out and saying, well, I'm pansexual. You know, that label doesn't quite fit me. I'm, maybe demisexual or something. So it will always depend on the actual person and the nuances of their sexual or gender diversity, right? I mean, if we look at the World Health Organization, okay, in 1990, okay, so that's last century.
Yeah.
Like, remember our computers in last
before I was
century were
born.
these white boxes, and it was before Windows 95, before like cell phones and apps, well, before smartphones and
Yeah.
apps and
Yeah.
Came out.
so right back then already, the World Health Organization, okay, declassified being gay or lesbian or bisexual or pansexual as a mental disorder. So before then it was a mental disorder. And from 1990, it hasn't been a mental disorder, okay, officially. And now we also had the World Health Organization declassify that being transgender was a mental disorder as well. So again, we're at that place where officially, after all the research, these are no longer disorders. People are recognizing that sexual and gender diversity is real, it's normal, it's okay to be different. But what I would like to know is, at what age does a child know, or even can a child know, if they're different? Keegan, do you want to tell us?
I was about 12 or 13. It was pretty obvious to me when I started puberty, and I was like, oh man, what is going on here? And it was a really difficult time, but I think that if we had more information available to us, I would have known a lot sooner. Because I can't say I ever felt like a girl, but there was no word for that when I was a child.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what being transgender was until I was about 14. So I think that respect, it's getting better because more parents have more information.
Right.
But I think whatever age you find out, it doesn't mean that you're more or less valid than somebody else.
Yes.
True.
So essentially, you can
You
know
can- you
at
can
a,
know
a,
from-
a
some people know from 2.
You know yourself.
yes.
Yes.
I think I was 6 or 7.
Oh,
Looking back then, that I knew that something was different with me. I
okay.
knew that I had more interest in girls than, the boys. Playing
Right.
house, I will take care of the girls more, than
Yeah.
the boys. So as a child, but you just cannot pin it and say this is what it is. Only in a later stage, when you're an adult. I think I was 21 in university, then I discovered that there are other lesbians. I'm like, oh, so I'm not the only one. So, but as a child, you do know, but just cannot pin it to say this is what is up with me.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to play mommies and daddies looking after the
I
dolls.
can
You
play
wanted to
mommy
play mommy and mommy.
yes.
Which is weird that a child can, well, not weird, it's actually nice that a child can say, well, this is what I would like,
Mhm.
even without having all of the information
Yeah.
at their
True.
fingertips.
Back in the days, children wouldn't know. They would
Yeah.
feel like how Jay is feeling, to say, this is weird, I'm different, I'm that. But with organizations like ours, it's also perfect that kids now can know, because information is at their disposal.
Yeah.
So kids can know now through this whole information dissemination that's happening, which is actually a
Which
good,
is great.
which is a good step
Yeah.
to the evolving of sexual orientation, gender identity, SOGIESC,
Yeah.
which is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing is with information,
Yes.
that it is empowering.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I know that Orianda, you've come across lesbians in your work that you do at the Safe House, is that right?
Yes, we've came across a lot of cases where we've helped lesbian women, even gays. So sometimes a lot of people would come in not because they're gay or lesbian, but through their journey of working with them, you then find out that they identify themselves as lesbians and gays. So you work with them through the processes. And we cannot ignore the fact that in our communities, we still have a lot of people that are still homophobic, transphobic, and so on. In one of the communities, we had people that would attack the gay, the people from LGBTI plus community.
Yeah.
So our role also is to educate people, because we need to create an environment that is inclusive, that caters for everybody. So we provide our services. As Iris and Keegan has mentioned, when they were sharing their journeys, you could tell that when they expressed, they did go through some challenges. And we picked up that mental health is very important
Yeah.
in the process. That is where we come in, because these people need support. The
Mm.
families of the people that are transitioning also are clueless. It's a sudden change that affects the whole family. So that's where our services come in, just to provide counseling where needed, or any other services. And in case where there's been negative attacks, that's where we would help, because our role is victim support, you know, amongst other roles that we play. Then we will carry you throughout the journey. If you need to apply for protection order, we are there for you. So we provide all the necessary support, and we've got a safe house, and we need funding to expand, because we want to include everybody. Yes, to accommodate everybody, because we're all human and we all need the help. We all need to have access to all the necessary services that we need.
Definitely.
Quite cool.
And it's so great to know that there are people out there like you that would go to the police station and you know, help victims of hate crimes get medical attention and just all of that legal support as well.
Yes,
So,
definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
So if people have opened their cases, sometimes people don't know where to go for. And some of the people would feel guilty that, oh, it was my fault, or maybe it's my fault that the family is going through this. So that is where we intervene and help with all the legal processes. And maybe the person didn't know which door to knock on, then we're able to give that guidance to them.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I think we can wrap up then with just giving people advice and hearing from the panel. So first of all, I'd like to obviously suggest that anyone who is a victim of a hate crime or discrimination would go to the Safe House, to Turning Point, or come to Same Love Toti, and we can help you out there also, to put you in touch with the right people and to give free counseling as well. And we do know where you're coming from, because we've all been there too. But yeah, shall we start with you, Jay? Do you have any final sort of advice that you would like to give?
I'd like to give advice to the young lesbians who are coming out or who are still in the closet, because growing up, I was in the closet, and when you don't have the right people to go to, when you don't know who to contact, I think there's a whole lot of stuff that is put out in the social medias and, you know, going around, and you as a young person coming out might, you know, get hold of the wrong information. And obviously coming out, it does involve your mental health as well. It might affect your mental health. So I would say go to someone that you trust, go to an organization. You know, there's a lot of organization depending on the province that you are. We are in KZN, the Same Love Dot. You can come to us and say, you know what, guys, I think this is what's happening to me. Then we can, you know, guide you step by step, you know, how to go about it before going to your friends and, you know, leading into wrong information and making bad decisions in your life.
Also,
Yeah, thank you. And Iris?
I think I've just got to echo what Jazz said there. I mean, it's so important to build a support structure around you, even if it's just your close family, or if they're not supportive, to find a place like Same Love Toti, where you can surround yourself with people that are going to help you along that journey. Don't do it alone.
Do not.
Yeah, especially when you don't have to. You don't have to be alone. You know, you've got people to support you. Keegan?
I would say the same thing. You don't have to do this alone. And just because the people that are around you don't believe or don't understand doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong. You might be a bit different, but you're not worth any less than anybody else.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I will kind of divert from what you are agreeing to and say to the youth especially, love is a beautiful thing. Take your time. There's also more to life than who you choose to love. there is a lot that life has to offer to you when it comes to anything and everything that you put your mind to. And also, lastly, in everything a youth is doing, they have to make sure that they position themselves in a space whereby they get enough information about who they are. They absorb and they spend time in spaces where they can know who they are without getting anyone to tell them who they are. I think that's what I would advise the youth in the community out there.
Any last words, Orianda?
I would say we all have the right to feel safe at all times.
Yes.
So it is always better to prioritize yourself, to prioritize your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, and obviously well-being in totality. Take care of yourself, reach out for help if you need help. In the journey of discovering yourself, help is there. You don't need to suffer alone.
Well said, Well, thank you, everybody. It's been great. And thank you to all of you watching us. Please know that you can contact us at any time. If you have other questions, please just pop it down into the comments below and we will definitely get back to you. We definitely will answer you. And reach out to us if you need us. We are here. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.